So yesterday, until what point did we cover? Can one of you just repeat briefly what we did yesterday? Especially Sutra number 18. So I think we did until 17, right? If I'm not wrong. 17 or 18?
17.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
17 we had completed.
Yeah. So one of you please very quickly explain what we did in Sutra number 17. Shujaji, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you please quickly give a recap of the Samprajñata Samadhi?
Yes, ma'am. So the 17th sutra is Vitarka Vicharananda Asmita Rupanugamat Samprajñatah. So according to this sutra, there are 4 stages, 4 levels of Samprajñata Samadhi. Savitarka, Savichara, Sananda, and Sasmita. So in Savitarka, the first level, it is about the yogi conquers all the gross elements. So according to our evolution, it consists of 16 Visheshas, that is 5 Karmendriya, 5 Jnanendriya, and 1 Manas. And the next level, yogi, it is like when we contemplate on the god, the idol worship, when we chant mantra, etc. So it is equal to that level. And in Savichara level, the second level, yogi conquers the second level. One get mastery over the next 6 avishesha. It is ahankara and the 5 tanmatra. So
Yes.
in this level, actually, he contemplates on God's characteristics, we can say. And then the next level will be Sa Ananda. And in this state, he is in the level of Buddhi. So Buddhi is full of Sattva quality. So, and in that level, yogi knows that Purusha is Purusha's reflection on the Buddhi. He is aware about that. So he is in a bliss state. And in the final state, it is Asmita level. And in that level, only thing remaining is the I-ness. So he is still, that I-ness or Asmita is still there. So that is the level of Sasmita Samadhi.
Yes, very good. I think you've summarized it very nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll start off with the 18th Sutra. Are you all able to see the screen? Is it clear?
No, ma'am.
You can't see the screen? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yes, it can be seen.
Yes, yes. Now we can.
Okay. Yeah. So today we'll be starting with the 18th Sutra. The 18th Sutra is the definition of Asamprajñata Samadhi. We have seen the Samprajñata Samadhi, which is the lower form of Samadhi. Now we'll see the Asamprajñata Samadhi, which is the ultimate Samadhi. Okay. Asamprajñata Samadhi can any of you answer this? Asamprajñata Samadhi is based on which kind of Vairagya?
Ma'am, para vairagya.
Yes, it is based on Para Vairagya. Now, Virama Pratyayabhyasa Purvaha Samskara Sheshonyaha. So if we understand word by word, the word virama. Virama means cessation. Cessation or complete stopping. Okay. Pratyaya. Pratyaya is the cognitive principle. If you try to understand about anything, that is called as a cognition. The brain is given some information, you try to make sense out of it and understand it, reflect upon that, try to use that information. All this process that is happening in the brain is called as the cognition, right? That cognitive aspect, that principle of cognition is called as pratyaya. Clear? The cognitive principle of our mind is called as pratyaya. Abhyasa is the practice, the continuous practice that we put in. Purvaha. Purvaha is that which comes as a prerequisite, or the one that comes before. Sanskara shesha. Sanskara shesha is, it leaves, this kind of practice leaves some kind of residues, which are the residues of that kind of samskara. What kind of samskara that is, but for now you understand the words in the sutra. Samskara shesha is the residue samskaras that are left. Okay, the traces or the residue of samskara left. Anyaha. Anyaha is the other kind of samadhi. Now, if we put it in the order that we can understand, it is talking about the other kind of samadhi. Anyaha is the last word of the sutra, but if we take it as the first word, the previous sutra had samprajnata samadhi, right? So this sutra talks about the other samadhi, anyaha. What is that anyaha? That anyaha is nothing but the samadhi which is asamprajnata. Now, what is asamprajnata? This asamprajnata samadhi is the kind of samadhi which develops with the practice of complete cessation of cognition. So there shouldn't be anything that is given to the mind for cognition. When that kind of cessation of cognition happens, that experience leaves some samskaras. That experience of not having anything to cognize leaves some samskaras as residues. Those samskaras lead to asamprajnata samadhi. I'll repeat it once again. So the other kind of samadhi, earlier we saw that it was samprajnata samadhi. What is the other kind of samadhi? Anyaha is nothing but they are referring to the asamprajnata samadhi. Now, this asamprajnata samadhi, the definition is that virama pratyaya vyasa purvaha samskara sheshonyaha. So the asamprajnata samadhi is the kind of samadhi which has the practice of cessation of cognition. So you are practicing the ceasing of cognition. There is nothing which is happening in the mind. So you are ceasing the cognition. When the cognition is completely ceased, that cessation, the experience of that cessation leaves some samskaras as residues. This state is called as asamprajnata samadhi. Okay. So here, what is happening to the mind field? The mind is not getting anything as a support, right? In the samprajnata samadhi, we saw that the mind is given the 16 visheshas, then the 6 avisheshas, then lingamatra, which is buddhi. Now, when it is going, starting to move from the samprajnata to the asamprajnata, which is the highest form of samadhi, it is leaving behind all the support, the alambanas, all the support factors. The mind field is now without the support of all these factors, as though it has reached a state of abhava. Abhava is the state of non-being. It feels as if we are in a state of non-being because there's nothing in the mind to cognize. That state is called as abhava. Okay, so this is also termed as nirbija, or the seedless kind of samadhi, where we can also relate it to asampragnata samadhi. Both are synonyms. You call it as asampragnata or nirbija. Both can be used as synonyms. You can use either asampragnata or nirbija. Okay, is that clear? Is this clear? Please answer.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Can you just please again repeat it for me?
Yes. So I'll repeat it one more time. Virama pratyayabhyasapurvah sanskara sheshonyah. Okay, this particular sutra is giving us the definition of asampragnata samadhi. Earlier, what did we see? We saw the definition of sampragnata samadhi. Now we are going into the definition of asampragnata samadhi. What does asampragnata samadhi mean? How is it attained? Now, when the mental activity, the activity that is going on in the mind, meaning the vrittis and all those things that we have spoken earlier, come to a complete cessation, that point is called as asampragnata samadhi. Here, the mind is not using any of the alambhanas, no supportive objects or elements which are given to the mind to cognize. So when the mind is dwelling in that experience of the abhava, which is the state which comes out of cessation of the mental activity, or we can say the mind is not given any content to cognize. Okay, that state, that experience which culminates into asampragnata samadhi is also called as nirbija samadhi. Both mean the same. Okay, which part of it have you understood?
Ma'am,
Yes.
The asampragnata samadhi is quite looking like
Your voice is breaking. Can you repeat what you said?
is closer to the
Is it happening for just me who is not able to hear her voice well?
We can't hear her, ma'am. Her voice is cracking.
Yeah. Try repeating your question,
She
whoever
can
it
type
is.
in the chat box, ma'am. She can type it in the chat box.
Yeah. Please type it in the chat box so that I can look at it. Sakshi, type it in the chat box.
Ma'am, I didn't understand one word, ma'am. Samskara sesho anyaha. So, in the asampragnata samadhi, there are no traces of samskara, but in the previous one, still we will have some residue of samskaras, ma'am. Is it that how we
Yes,
understand? Can you help?
exactly. Here, there is no
Oh.
residue of the samskaras. There is nothing which is left. But what remains are the samskaras of the asampragnata experience, which is devoid of all kinds of alambhanas. You're getting it? So we don't have any supportive elements or nothing for the mind to cognize. It doesn't have anything. So when the mind is not given any content to cognize, it is in a state of experience, right? What is happening? It is given a state where there is only the experience of that cessation, right? That is the only thing which remains in the mind. There is nothing else in the mind. The
So
mind,
we are just observing the cessation of the activities in Asampragnata Samadhi.
we can't say we are observing because that is completely dissolved. When the asmita is dissolved, so there is no point of I here.
Okay, okay.
So there is an experience. There is an experience of what the pure consciousness or the Purusha. There, how can the Purusha, the pure consciousness be experienced? It can only be experienced when everything else is stopped. You're getting it? What is that everything else? They are all the vrittis going on in the mind. When all those things have come to a cessation, complete stop, that point is called as asampragnata samadhi. So people remain in that asampragnata samadhi for a long time. Some yogis come out, then go back, but there is nothing else happening in the mind. They just go into that void state where they are entering into that asampragnata samadhi, and then some of them come out of that state. But what is happening in the mind is the vrittis are completely seized. There is nothing going on, no cognitive activity going on in the mind. We are not sending any information into the mind, like no alambhanas. Alambhanas, by alambhanas, what I mean is the 16 visheshas, 6 avisheshas, the buddhi, nothing is going, no elements of the prakriti are being given as the objective to the mind for cognition. That state is asampragnata samadhi. Yeah, Sakshi has typed her question. Is sa asmita sampragnata samadhi similar to asampragnata samadhi? No, Sakshi. Asampragnata samadhi is not similar to sa asmita sampragnata samadhi. Sampragnata samadhi, as I said, is different from asampragnata samadhi. In sampragnata samadhi, we are using the alambhanas. Here, the buddhi and the asmita aspect that we have seen yesterday are used as the points of cognition. Here still there is some work happening with regards to the cognition. But when we get into asampragnata samadhi, the complete cognitive activity comes to a standstill. There's nothing going on. No evolute of the prakriti is being used for the mind to take a support of. We are not giving even asmita. Yesterday we have seen that in asmita sampragnata samadhi, the last evolute of prakriti, which was buddhi or mahat, and the asmita aspect that comes out of the buddhi, those were the alambhanas for the asmita sampragnata samadhi. Okay, those were the alambhanas for the cognitive aspect of the mind. But when the yogi has mastered the asmita sampragnata samadhi, he is in a state where he can go into, he has completely understood what prakriti is, and he can now disassociate. Now he's not interested in the prakriti also. He's not interested in the knowledge of prakriti also. Okay, everything that he has understood, he feels, I don't need this knowledge now. I can leave this knowledge at this point. That is when he is making a transition from sampragnata samadhi into asampragnata samadhi. Getting it? So there is, I don't want to confuse you all, but there is one more samadhi between asampragnata samadhi and sampragnata samadhi, which is called as dharma megha samadhi. Okay, we will come to it, but for now you just remember, we will just dwell on sampragnata and asampragnata part. When you are very clear with these two things, it's very easy to incorporate the dharma megha samadhi aspect. Okay, is that clear? So the sampragnata samadhi until the sa asmita sampragnata samadhi, which is the last sampragnata samadhi stage, until that stage, we are depending on the evolutes of Prakriti. The last evolute of Prakriti is Buddhi, or the first evolute of Prakriti is Buddhi. So we have completely mastered the Sa-asmita Sampragnata Samadhi. Only after the mastery of the Sa-asmita Sampragnata Samadhi, the yogi is able to understand that he has the willingness to let go all the knowledge that he has accrued through all the stages of Sampragnata Samadhi. He is willing to let go of. He thinks he doesn't need any of that knowledge. He only, because he understands that that knowledge is not in sync with what Purusha is. Purusha is different from all these aspects of knowledge. So if he really wants to reach the Purusha and dwell in the Purusha, he has to let go of all the knowledge also that he has accrued. Okay. Is my audio breaking?
Ma'am, No, it was clear.
Sakshi, I think you have to check your connectivity, because I heard from the others that they're able to hear me well. Yeah, Santa, you had a question?
Yeah, just I wanted to clarify on that samskara sheshonyaha. When you told that asamprajnata samadhi is devoid of any cognition, so in that case, we are not accruing any new samskara, but it tells that even after asamprajnata samadhi, previous samskaras which we have already, that remains. Is that correct understanding?
No, here those old samskaras, also leaving the samskaras as residues, the person who is in asampragnata samadhi, let me make this clear now. The person who is in asampragnata samadhi, that person will go in and come out of asampragnata samadhi. Why? Because there are some more samskaras left which he has to complete before he leaves the body completely. Okay, I was mentioning that he gets into the state, he gets into asampragnata samadhi and is also able to come out of asampragnata samadhi. Means he's going into that meditative state and coming out of the meditative state. Okay, why is he going in and coming out? What does that infer or indicate? It indicates that the yogi is still having something to do, is still having some samskaras which are left. Once those samskaras are completely finished, once the samskaras are completely exhausted, that is when the yogi will never come back. You're getting it? And those
Yes,
people
yes.
who are going in and coming out are called as Jivana Muktas. Okay, they still have some lifespan left. So they have to live that lifespan. As a process of that lifespan, they have attained asampragnata samadhi. They know what is asampragnata samadhi. They are able to go in and come out. Why do they come out? Is because they have basic body needs, right? Like they have to probably come out to take food or something, or they have to come out to take for the natural urges and all that. But that will be very, very minimal. If you see in the yogis who are in the state of asampragnata samadhi, the time that they are coming out of asampragnata samadhi is very, very minimal. They are mostly in those meditative states. Okay, so examples given of people who have attained asampragnata samadhi are Ramana Maharshi. Okay, he was one of those yogis who have attained Sampragnata Samadhi. That is what is being told. But these experiences of Samadhi, these are all vikalpas that we have, right? We are reading the text and we are hearing and we are just imagining what it could be, right? To be very honest.
Yeah.
None of us have really experienced any of these states. If we think about it in a logical way, it is all vikalpa. We are imagining all these states. We're trying to understand what it is and imagine those states. Now, it is very important, though we do not have a first-hand experience of any of this, but still it is important for us to keep the concepts clear and understand what is happening in each of these stages. We know that samadhi is not one single step. Like after dhyana, we don't directly jump into the final stage, which is the asampragnata samadhi. After dhyana, once we are deeply we have mastered dhyana, that is when we enter into the first stage of samadhi, which is sampragnata samadhi. In sampragnata samadhi also, vitarka samadhi is the first kind of samadhi, right? And then we go up the ladder, like we make progress little by little, and finally we reach the asampragnata samadhi, which is the last stage, like the real yoga happens there. Okay, that is the real goal of yoga, reaching asampragnata samadhi. Okay, so is that clear?
Yeah, so can we say that even when one has attained Asamprajnata Samadhi, his day-to-day activities or whatever he is doing when he come out, will it create again samskara?
He will not do anything that creates additional samskaras, because he's very clear on that. He does not, he's just living because he's given that lifespan.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe
Ma'am,
though he's
I have a
involved
doubt.
in though he's, one second, let me complete this. Though he's involved in his daily activities, whatever daily routine that he has to do, but none of his actions will accrue any additional karmas, or he will never get into any kind of samskaras, additional samskaras, because he does not associate with anything that is happening around. He's just there. But you see him physically, but mentally he's dead. Okay. So that is his state. He doesn't associate with anything that is belonging to Prakriti. Any evolute that is belonging to Prakriti, he does not associate with that. Okay. Yeah. Rajeshwari ji, you had a question.
Yes, ma'am. Most of the things you have answered, but just out of curiosity, I'm asking, ma'am. So when they are in the state of the samadhi, are the physiological, if you know, ma'am, are the physiological functions like anything happening, like the heart beating, something is happening, or like what's the state of the
A
physiological
lot of
function?
people have, if I think some of you might know about this. There's some kind of research going on this, but not a whole lot of research, but there is research going on this. I mean, they've tested people who got into these states, and they are in a state of flow, like their vrittis are reduced or have come to a standstill, and they want to see they test them on the breathing rate, their heart rate, their respiration, and all. And what they've found is generally all these things reduce. The number of times the heart beats, the number of times they breathe, the activities that are happening in the mind, the waves in the mind, all these things slow down to an extent where they're completely almost coming to a stop. Okay, yeah. So should we step into the next sutra if you're all comfortable with this? Yes? Should we go into the next sutra? Okay. Let me go back to the book. Now, So what is the next sutra talking about? See, where did we come from? We came from the Asampragnata Samadhi. Now, where are we going? We are going into, see, this book is not giving it the right way. I mean, past merits needed for Asampragnata Samadhi. I don't call it as past merits needed. This is not at all Asampragnata Samadhi. Let me explain this. Bhava Pratyayo Videha Prakritilayanam. This is Sutra number 19. I'll repeat it once again. Bhava Pratyayo Videha Prakritilayanam. So what is the meaning of Bhava Pratyaya is, Bhava Pratyaya is the kind of samadhi of the Videha and Prakritilaya yogis. Now, who are these yogis? I'll explain you in a little bit. Now, people who have reached a certain stage of the yogic journey and have somehow dropped off their bodies, okay, meaning they might have passed away, or they might have merged in the Prakriti. So these kind of yogis who have reached a certain stage in the yogic path, like they have mastered certain elements of the yogic path, and for some reason have left their bodies. Now they are without the bodies. Such yogis are called as Videha. So the bodiless or the disembodied yogis are called as Videha yogi. Okay. And the other kind of yogi is called as Prakriti Laya. Okay. The Prakriti Laya yogi is the kind of yogi who has merged the awareness, their own awareness, into Prakriti. I'll tell you what that means. You please understand that Bhava Pratyaya is the kind of samadhi or the kind of causal cognition that accrues at birth. As soon as these people are born, they can remember their past samskaras very easily, because they have left the body at a certain stage where they've mastered so many things. So they might have accrued a lot of siddhis, they might have mastered many things like the visheshas, avisheshas, and also some of them have mastered the lingamatra. That is the time when they might have left the body. So where they have left, until that point, it comes very easily to them in the next birth. Okay, so the Bhava Pratyaya again is not a samadhi. It is still at the lower form of samadhi. I told you they are still pacing the path of yoga. They've not reached the ultimate stage, which is the Asampragnata Samadhi. They've dropped off their body somewhere. Okay, those kind of yogis are called Bhava Pratyaya yogis. Now, Bhava Pratyaya yogis are of two kinds. So one is Videha and the other one is Prakriti Laya. Getting it? So the yogis who take rebirth, the yogis who take rebirth because of their past samskaras, past yogic samskaras, those kind of yogis are called as Videha and Prakriti Laya. So Videha yogis are the yogis who are bodiless. They do not have a body. Prakriti Laya yogis are yogis who have merged their awareness into the Prakriti. Okay. Now, Videha, as I told you, Videha yogis are bodiless. So, why do they become bodiless? If you understand in a little more detail, you will be able to crack this concept. Now, Videha can only happen when they are able to conquer the grosser objects, grosser elements. What are the gross elements that we have seen? The 16 avisheshas, right? Getting it? The 16 avisheshas. Sorry?
Visheshas, ma'am.
Yeah, the 16 visheshas and sorry, the 16 visheshas and also the 6 avisheshas. So they have mastered until ahankara, starting from the 10 senses, the karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, the mind, the the Mahabhutas, the Tanmatras, and also Ahamkara, until the Ahankara. So 16 Visheshas, 6 Avisheshas, all these aspects, all these 22 aspects they have mastered. Those yogis are, where are they? They are at a stage of Sa Ananda, right? Yes. So they are at the stage of Sa Ananda Sampragnata Samadhi. That is when they have left their body. Now, when they have left their body at that stage, do we call them as, do we call that aspect as Asampragnata Samadhi or Sampragnata Samadhi?
Samprajna.
Sampragnata.
Sampragnata. It is not Asampragnata. How will a person who has reached Asampragnata Samadhi take rebirth? Is there a possibility?
No, ma'am.
The one who has reached moksha or kaivalya, he is liberated. He does not need to take birth, right? We are talking about yogis who take rebirth. Now, how can a yogi who is taking rebirth be in the state of Asampragnata Samadhi? There is no possibility, isn't it? So the explanation given here is completely coming out of some kind of mithya jnanam or vikalpa. This is not Asampragnata Samadhi. A person who is taking birth at some stage of the yogic path would have never reached Asampragnata Samadhi. I'm 100% sure about that. Okay, when we say that a person is taking rebirth, he's somewhere in the stage of Sampragnata Samadhi only. He has, so Videhas are the ones who have conquered the 16 Visheshas and 6 Avisheshas. They are at the stage of Sa Ananda Sampragnata Samadhi. That is when they've left their body. Okay, so these kind of yogis are still confined to the worldly power. Okay, they are still confined to the samsara. They are still in the confines of the worldly powers and bound in the cycle of samsara. Is that clear? Is that clear to everybody? These kind of yogis are still bound with the samsara or the cycle of samsara. They have not reached the supreme reality yet. Okay, so these bhava pratyaya yogis are just giving us a semblance or a mere resemblance of yoga, but that is not true yoga. We get a feeling that it is the state of true yoga, but that is not the state of ultimate or true yoga. There is what do I say? There is further journey from there. If they have to reach the ultimate goal of yoga, there is some more journey to pace, and they have to, only if they complete that, they will be able to attain Asampragnata Samadhi. That is why they take rebirth. The reason why they take rebirth is when they leave their body, they live without the bodies for many years. Like you might have heard yogis who are living without the bodies, like they are in the form of shining gods or like divine celestial beings without bodies. For many years, they might live for thousands of years. So if you remember the Hatha Yoga Sutra, we still have many siddhas who are still living and wandering in the world. Do you remember that? They give a big list of yogis, siddhas, who are still living in this cosmos. They are somewhere here. They are all existing. Okay, and they give a list of 33 yogis. Okay, this is one of the sutra in Hatha Yoga Pradipika. So those yogis might be Videha or Prakritilaya yogis. They are still in the Sampragnata Samadhi stage. And when the samskara related to their the samadhi takes a very strong form, that is when they take rebirth. And as soon as they take rebirth, they remember all their past birth merits, and they start off from there. Their journey becomes very clear. That is when they are heading towards the Asampragnata Samadhi. Is that clear? Yeah.
Ma'am,
So yes.
if I'm not eating away your time, I'm just wondering, 1.18 Virama Pratyaya Abhyasa Purvaha Samskara Sheshaha Anyaha. So, as a result of practice, the people who are able to do that cessation of activity, they become the Bhava Pratyayos. And
No, 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 no. They don't become
and
Bhava
those
Pratyaya.
who
No, they
and
don't
those
become.
who are still lingering with the samskaras have to do the 1.20 Shraddha Virya Smriti. Is that how
No,
we
no,
understand?
no, no, no. Your understanding is not right here. I'll tell you. See, 18 sutras spoke about the definition of asampragnata samadhi, right? We understood how asampragnata samadhi can be achieved. We can achieve asampragnata samadhi by complete cessation of the mental activity that is going on. Once we have mastered that, it is nothing but the asampragnata samadhi state. That much is clear?
That much is clear now.
Yeah. So after that, he gives the explanation about bhava pratyayo videha prakriti layanam. So 17 and 18 spoke about sampragnata and asampragnata samadhi, right? The definitions of sampragnata and asampragnata samadhi. Now, from 19th to Sutra number 50, starting from Sutra number 19 to Sutra number 50 of the first Pada, all these sutras only talk about Sampragnata Samadhi. Okay, all these sutras, starting from Sutra number 19 to Sutra number 50. Only the 51st Sutra again talks about Asampragnata Samadhi. No other sutra actually talks about Sampragnata Samadhi in between. Maybe there are references here and there, but none of the sutras actually go into deeper exposition of Asampragnata Samadhi. The 18th sutra is the definition of Asampragnata Samadhi, and starting from 19 to 50, all these sutras talk about aspects related to Sampragnata Samadhi. What happens to a yogi when he passes away at a particular point? Yeah, what are the different kinds of practitioners? We have mild, medium, and intense practitioners. What happens to them? And if they are not able to follow all these upayas and the bhava pratyaya part, what happens? Is there any other method to be able to reach this sampragnata samadhi or asampragnata samadhi? They give other methods like Ishvara pranidhana and various other methods starting from sutra number 32. So tatra, what is that? Ekatattva Abhyasa, sutra related to Ekatattva Abhyasa, followed by all the other 8 sutras which talk about different methods to get into the states of samadhi and handle the obstacles, the what do we say, the Vyadi Sthyana Samshaya Pramada Alasya Avirati Bhranti Darshana Alabdha Bhumikatva Anavastitatva Chitta Vikshepas and Antarayas. So the methods to handle all those things are given, but never did they mention about Asampragnata Samadhi. Okay. There is a, you see, as we go into the sutras, you will be able to relate and understand what they are talking about. They have dwelled more on the Sampragnata Samadhi aspect, because once the Sampragnata Samadhi is mastered, the result of Sampragnata Samadhi is what? Asampragnata Samadhi. Okay, they go into automatically, once they master the Sampragnata Samadhi, they go into Asampragnata Samadhi. Okay, the result of perfect Sampragnata Samadhi is the Asampragnata Samadhi. Okay, so they have clearly given a lot of ways in which the Sampragnata Samadhi can be mastered, so that it ultimately leads to the whatever necessary prerequisites for the Asampragnata Samadhi. Getting it? Did I make myself clear?
You are clear, ma'am, but it is going on top of my head. But I'll just stay with it. Like you said, as we do the sutras, maybe I'll start understanding.
But 19, please
Pregnant.
don't get confused. It is not related to the. You were talking about Sampragnata Samadhi only, right? It is not related to Asampragnata Samadhi. This sutra
Because
is.
Videha Prakriti Layana means I'm thinking, ma'am, those who because one or two interpretations that I have heard earlier, the one who are ready, one who is ready or who is at the level of Asampragnata Samadhi, they leave the body and they become one with the Prakriti. For example, that Mahavatar Babaji, they say he's still in Himalayas, Hanuman. So I'm
Why would they
confused
take?
there.
Why would see Asampragnata Samadhi? They don't have the need to come back to life, right?
Yeah.
What is the need?
Yes.
Once liberated, what is the necessity to take rebirth? If you think about that, I don't get convinced with the fact that a person who has gotten into Asampragnata Samadhi would like to take rebirth. He wouldn't have that samskara at all. He wouldn't crave for taking birth.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is a very strong point that I feel, and I'm convinced with that point, that a person who is Bhavapratyaya yogi cannot be in the state of Asampragnata Samadhi. He is still lingering in the Sampragnata Samadhi. He probably has mastered a few things and got some siddhis, and he's out of the body. He's like a god. But
Yes, ma'am.
when he realizes that this is not the ultimate aspect of yoga, he has not attained the ultimate goal of yoga, and he's not in that the complete bliss of Purusha. Okay, that is when his samskaras, because of his samskaras, he comes back to take birth. And when he takes birth, he starts off from the point where he left. And he completes his journey to attain Asampragnata Samadhi. Was that clear, or did I confuse you more?
Yeah. No, ma'am. I will. Yeah.
Okay.
But this needs little like we can't like it's not going to sink or assimilate immediately, ma'am. We
Yeah, you
need to
need to
just
ponder on this a little more. I mean, you need to have your own set of questions. You need to ponder upon this, reflect upon what I spoke today, and you should have more questions around this. That is when you will be able to understand this better. But from the commentaries that I've read and from the different texts that I've read, I feel this aspect, this bhava pratyayo videha prakriti layanam, is definitely not an aspect of asampragnata samadhi. Okay, and bhava pratyaya is a kind of samadhi, is an aspect which leads to one kind of samadhi, and we have upaya pratyaya also coming up in the next sutra. Okay, so we have two aspects. One is bhava pratyaya, which is the samadhi that leads where the yogi takes rebirth, and upaya pratyaya is where the yogi is pacing the journey in the same birth. Like he might use certain methods which are very, very conducive for reaching a sampragnata samadhi. Okay, so we'll see that those methods which are called as upayas. Okay, upayas in the next sutra. Sutra number 20 talks about that. So prakriti layanam, when I spoke about videha, you understood about videha, right? While they are still, they have these certain samskaras where they feel like they have to take rebirth, they have to face the yogic journey again and complete it. So they depart from the body, and the yogi attains a state of videha. That much is clear, I think. And then the status of videha accrues only when the yogi has reached the ananda accompanied samadhi, which is sananda samadhi. That point you have to remember. And the siddhis also are attained, like the yogi can also become what do I say? We see a lot of vibhudis in the third chapter where they master a lot of things and they're not affected because of any of the Mahabhutas. You see, they are not affected because of the air element, earth element, fire, water, and ether. They are not affected with, they can actually walk in the space, walk on thorns, nothing happens to them. Okay, they attain some kind of siddhis. And the Ashtasiddhis also, like you might know, Anima, Garima, Mahima, Laghima, Prapti, Prakamya, Ishitva, Vashitva, all these things are siddhis. When they attain siddhis, they get, some of them are in a state that they've acquired everything. And that is when they become bodiless. And again, when their samskaras are become stronger, they take rebirth. They take rebirth and again complete their journey. That is the story about Videhas. Clear? They are still limited and confined to the evolutes of Prakriti. This aspect is very, very important. They are limited and confined to the evolutes of Prakriti, where they have to maintain the samsara aspect. Their experiences are not really spiritual. They have a lot of link to the material. Do you understand this link? So their experiences are not completely spiritual. They rather get into a materialism also. Okay, so the result in their continued involvement in the samsara cycle. So there's some kind of strong samskara which leads them into rebirth, and they're born after some time, these videhas. And right upon their rebirth, what they do is they naturally remember that they were in a certain state that they attained earlier, but they still are under the clutches of the Prakriti. There is still avidya. That is what they have to master. Once they have mastered avidya and they get to a state where they are completely able to discard the aspects of Prakriti, only then will they be able to get into asampragnata samadhi. Now, coming to Prakriti Laya yogis are the ones where the buddhi aspect, you have seen the buddhi aspect, right? When I was explaining the 16 visheshas, the 6 avisheshas, and I said there is buddhi, which is linga matra, right? So that buddhi aspect, which is the linga matra, which is the closest evolute of Prakriti to the Purusha. It is very close to the Purusha. So when the yogi has reached to this evolute, which is the buddhi aspect, and he now has almost touched the Prakriti, right? Beyond the buddhi is only Prakriti. Prakriti is alinga. Okay. To this kind of yogi, it appears as if there's nothing further to attain, right? Because he has reached the buddhi stage and he's very close to Prakriti and Purusha. He feels that he has almost known everything. He has almost touched Prakriti. He knows everything. So he doesn't need to know anything further. That is the assumption that gets created in the mind of the yogi. Okay. When he reaches this state, that is when he completely merges in the Prakriti. That kind of yogi is called as Prakriti Laya yogi. Is that clear? Is this aspect clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes.
samadhi, which samadhi is he in? This Prakriti Laya yogi, which kind of samadhi is he in?
Samprajnata.
Sampragnata, but which Sampragnata?
Sasmita.
Yes.
Asmita. Very fantastic. Whoever has answered that. He is in the stage of Asmita Sampragnata Samadhi. Are you understanding? He's still not in Asampragnata Samadhi. He is still lingering in Sampragnata Samadhi. He's at the highest stage of Sampragnata Samadhi, which is Sahasmita Sampragnata Samadhi. Okay, I'll give you an example of Vishwamitra. I've read this somewhere. So Vishwamitra, the sage Vishwamitra, he attains this Prakriti Laya state. And that is where he thinks he has achieved everything, and he creates his own universe. Can you imagine that he has created his own universe in which there are devas who are doing their work. There is everything happening, like we see in our universe, in our world. So there's everything happening. So he's created his own universe. And that is all false. He has created his universe, and after some time he realized that this is not what it is supposed to be. I'm not in the right path. And he drops that off, takes rebirth, and completes his journey to attain asampragnata samadhi. Okay, so sage Vishwamitra is an example of Prakriti Laya yogi who has attained Sasmita Sampragnata Samadhi. Then he dropped off and went into some other universe and created his own worlds and all that. After that, he realized that that is not the right thing. Because of his samskaras, he takes birth again. Okay, and he completes his yogic journey and attains Asampragnata Samadhi. Okay, so this is about the 19th sutra. Should we proceed to the 20th one?
So
Ma'am,
they take, just one clarification, like they take birth in order to get the Asamprajnata Samadhi only, right?
Yes, yes.
So
Yes.
in that case, what they have written in this meaning is also correct. That in order to cause Asamprajnata Samadhi, this Videha and Prakriti Laya are coming.
Yeah, but it is not Asampragnata Samadhi as past merits needed for Asampragnata Samadhi. Videha and Prakriti Laya yogis have birth as the cause of Asampragnata Samadhi. Yeah. You're saying what they've given is right here? Is that
Yeah,
what
I think because Videha and Prakriti Laya, those people take birth to cause a Samprajnata Samadhi, because they are only in the Samprajnata state, you told, right? So in
No,
order to
they have birth as the cause of Asampragnata Samadhi.
so in order to cause a Samprajnata, they take birth.
Yeah, we can, if you're interpreting it in
Yeah.
that way. Yeah, that is. So I
Yeah,
felt
okay.
they should have rephrased it and put it in a better way. But I felt that there is some kind of, I can't go with this explanation here. That's why I tried to put it in a different way. If you're
Okay.
understanding what I explained,
think
able to relate to this, then it's fine. If the meaning is very clear and if you feel that it is conveying the same meaning, then fantastic.
Yeah, so
maybe
I
they
mean,
think that
past.
there are two ways. Like one is the past needs, past merits, and other one is we need to go on continuously. That is the thing they are explained, I think.
Past merits, yeah, because of their past merits, they kind of start off their journey again from where they've left.
That's why they mentioned like past merits is needed for Asampragnata Samadhi is a one way, and another one is you can go on continuously in one birth.
That is the next sutra. In one birth, this is the sutra which talks about getting it in one birth. This is called as Upaya Pratyaya. This is called as Upaya Pratyaya. Now, there are two methods in which the yogi can attain Asampragnata Samadhi. One is a person who has left it midway. Okay, who has left it midway. For the one who has left it midway, it is called Bhava Pratyaya. And for the one who has started in the very birth and is pacing his journey and is trying to reach Asampragnata Samadhi in the very birth, in that same birth, the sutra talks about that. So these are called as Upaya Pratyaya. Upayas are nothing but the methods through which one can attain Asampragnata Samadhi. So what are those methods through which one can attain Asampragnata Samadhi? The 20th sutra says, Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna. Samadhi and Prajna are two different methods. They are not the same method. Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna. These 5 methods are also the means through which one can attain Asampragnata Samadhi. Getting it? Is that clear? I'll go into detail about the explanation of each of these. If you are okay with the sutra, I will go into the further explanation of this. Is that clear until now? Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna. So Purvaka Itaresham. So these are the things which are preceded. Okay, preceded for the attainment of Asampragnata Samadhi. Getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So, Shraddha is nothing but a very strong. Now, Shraddha, you can apply a little bit of feminine aspect to this, just like a mother. So, a very caring mother, as she protects the child, in the same way, Shraddha can be thought of as a mother, which protects the yogi. If one has Shraddha in the practices that they do and the path that they've chosen, that acts as a very benevolent method, which becomes very conducive for the path of Asampragnata Samadhi. Getting it? So that is the understanding about Shraddha. Okay. So when a person has Shraddha in the heart and mind, that person is full of clarity and pleasantness of the mind. Okay, so with that feeling, if one pursues the aspect of Asampragnata Samadhi, it becomes easier. They can pace their journey in a better way. Now, what is the second aspect? The second aspect is Virya. So the one who is having a strong belief, a faith in their practice, when that kind of a person is seeking some kind of discriminating wisdom, okay, when that kind of person is seeking some kind of discriminatory wisdom, which is viveka, okay, through that wisdom, he actually gathers strength. What is that strength called? It is called as virya. And when does that virya accrue or come to the yogi? Only when he practices strict celibacy. Okay, so this kind of strength can come to a yogi when he is able to practice celibacy. Okay, he is following the yamas, niyamas, the rules and regulations that have been put forth. That is when he can kind of convert all the different aspects of himself into one point, which is the energy that is needed for pursuing his yogic path. Getting it? So you see, these are all interconnected. Now, Shraddha, when one person completely believes in that practice and with a very strong discriminatory knowledge, he is able to preserve his energy for the purpose of yogic journey. And with the help of Shraddha and Virya, he will be able to create that kind of intentness. Intentness means the memory that is needed for being present in that journey. Okay, the intentness that is needed for being present in the journey. So they have to be mindful about what they're doing every second, right? So their memory must be filled with everything, every aspect that is yogic. Getting it? So Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, being intent in the practice, creating that kind of memory for the pursuit of the yogic journey, that is called Smriti. And Samadhi. Samadhi is nothing but the meditative practices that the yogi takes upon. Samadhi, Prajna. And Prajna is what? Prajna is nothing but the awakening of the wisdom. Okay, awakening of the wisdom related to the Samadhi. Okay, so these are the 5 aspects: the faith, the strength, the intentness or the memory that the mind has to accrue, and then the meditative aspect and leading to the awakening of wisdom. So these 5 aspects: Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna. Okay, Purvaka is all these 5 aspects are the preceding ones, after which, or the preconditions, after which one can pays the path of the Sampragnata Samadhi. Okay, so these are nothing but the means through which one can attain the Sampragnata Samadhi. Getting it? So they have applied Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, and Prajna as the methods to during the Sampragnata Samadhi, which lead to the Asampragnata Samadhi. Getting it? These are the
Yes.
5 means through which one paces the journey of Sampragnata Samadhi that leads to Asampragnata Samadhi. So you see, in these 5 aspects, there are a lot of yogic elements or techniques which are already involved. And the intent is to be able to understand and follow all those things. We are not leaving any aspect. Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna includes a lot of the Ashtangas also. The knowledge that comes, the practices that we do related to the Ashtangas, all come here in this. Okay, so these 5 methods are called as Upaya Pratyaya. Please remember, the earlier ones were Bhava Pratyaya, where the previous samskaras are immediately recollected in the next birth, and then from there the yogi takes on and ends in Asampragnata Samadhi. Here in this sutra, they talk about the 5 methods, upayas, which lead to Asampragnata Samadhi. Clear with this?
Yes.
Ma'am, will you please repeat Samadhi and Prajna once?
Samadhi is nothing but the aspect of meditation. The Samadhi aspect is the, I can say it's the causal cognition of which is cultivated through the practices that we do, like dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So the meditative practices that we do. And these practices are leading to prajna, wisdom. Okay. Samadhi, you can just put it down as meditative, meditation. Okay, Samadhi is related to the meditation. And prajna is the awakening of wisdom that comes through the meditative practice. So these things are interrelated. We can't separate them and say that Shraddha must be practiced in a different way, Virya must be practiced in a different way. So these are all very interconnected and related to each other. So all these 5 aspects must be the preconditions or the prerequisites for what? For the attainment of Asampragnata Samadhi.
First Sampragnata, right? Then Asampragnata.
Yeah, so when we are in the Sampragnata Samadhi, we will kind of master all these aspects, all these upayas. Okay, when we are in the Sampragnata Samadhi, these things would be mastered. And after the mastery of these 5 aspects, that's when one comes into the Asampragnata Samadhi stage. Clear? What is the time? Okay, it's 9:43. Should we stop here and go to the chanting? Is this sutra clear?
Ma'am, just
Yes.
to revise quickly, 1.19, there are 2 types of yogis. One is Videha, the other one is Prakriti Layanam.
Yes.
And the 1.20 are the 5 Upaya Pratyayas.
Yes.
I got it right now? Okay.
Yes.
Then
That's
these
right.
upayas are to attain Asampragnata Samadhi.
Okay, I'll make use of the jam file. Just give me a second so that it becomes really clear to you. Just give me a second. So we have one second, let me take the marker. So we have bhava pratyaya. Okay, now bhava pratyaya yogis are of two kinds. So they are videhas to prakritilaya. Is this clear? Bhava pratyaya yogis are of two kinds. One is videha and two is prakritilaya. Okay. So then we have upaya pratyaya. So in upaya pratyaya we have Shraddha, Virya, Smriti. Sorry. Smriti. Then,
Samadhi, prajna.
yeah, we have got the pen again. Samadhi. Then the fifth one is Prajna. Okay. So the two kinds of yogis are who use who are bhava pratyaya yogis, and the other kind is upaya pratyaya. Okay. The one who are bhava pratyaya yogis, they are of two types, videhas and prakriti layas. And the other category is upaya pratyaya, who use the Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna as the methods to attain Sampragnata Samadhi. Both these kinds of yogis are facing their journeys to reach the Asampragnata Samadhi. Both the Bhava Pratyaya yogis and Upaya Pratyaya yogis. Okay, so Bhava Pratyaya yogis attain Asampragnata Samadhi not in the same birth. They attain Asampragnata Samadhi probably in after many births, or maybe in the next birth. 1 second. For what?
Ma'am, please sit again. I lost something, please.
What did you?
Book, I'm not able to find it. I searched everywhere, it's gone.
Can you give me 10 minutes? Yeah. So we have until this point, did you understand? We have two kinds of yogis. One who take rebirth to attain Asampragnata Samadhi, and the other one is the yogi who takes birth and does everything in the same birth, attains Asampragnata Samadhi in that very birth. The one who attains Asampragnata Samadhi in the same birth, the method is Upaya Pratyaya. They use these 5 methods to attain Asampragnata Samadhi. For the Bhava Pratyaya yogis, we have seen they attain certain samskaras right at the birth, and from there they continue to actually complete their yogic journey to reach Asampragnata Samadhi. clear? Rajeshwari ji, was that you who asked the question? Is this point clear?
Yes, 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 ma'am. Absolutely clear.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Pleasure, pleasure. Yeah. So what I'll do is now we'll go to the chanting part. Can you all open the 4 chapters of freedom? Are you still able to see my screen?
Yes.
How many of you are comfortable reading Sanskrit? Are you all comfortable reading Sanskrit? We did until 29th Sutra yesterday. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So today we'll do the 30th Sutra. Is the screen clear? You all have to keep your books ready. So that it becomes easy. Moving back and forth between the screen and the names, it takes a while for me. Okay. So the 30th Sutra is Vyadhisthana Samshaya Pramada Alasya. Is this the right one that I'm looking at, or am I somewhere else? This is a sadhana pada. I should go into the samadhi pada. This is the sutra. Vyadhi, sthana, samshaya, pramada, alasya, avirati, bhranti darshana, alabdha bhumikatva, anavasthitatva, chitta vikshepaste antarayah. Vyadhi, sthana, samshaya, pramada, alasya, avirati, bhranti darshana, alabdha bhumikatva, anavastitatvani, chitta vikshepaste antarayah. Repeat after me. Mute yourself and just repeat after me so that the sutra becomes clear. Vyadhi, sthana, samshaya, pramada, alasya, avirati, bhranti darshana, alabdha bhumikatva, anavastitatvani, chitta vikshepaste antarayah. I'll repeat the sutra once again. Vyadhisthana samshaya pramada alasya avirati bhranti darshana alabdha bhumikatva anavastitatvani chitta vikshepaste antarayah. Is that clear? Please respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I would like you all to just repeat this sutra. We'll do until the 34th or the 35th sutra and wrap up.
Ma'am, I wrote the names of people who are present today.
Yeah.
in that order if they can chant, just to remember, they have to remember the previous person name. That's all, ma'am. First is Sweetie Kaushik. I don't know if that person is there or not. Sweetie Kaushik.
We have to keep
They
calling names, otherwise they
No,
won't
they
be.
can remember the order and do. No, ma'am. It's not possible like that.
Yeah. So first is Sweetie
Sweet-
Kaushik.
Yeah. After her is
There?
Devakanya.
Okay. I don't think they're there.
Gunjan,
see-
ma'am. Gunjan.
Devakanya is not here. Ma'am.
Gunjan.
Gunjan also not here.
Okay, then it is me first. Then Raji, I have written my name. Sarika.
Ma'am, Mintu ji is here. Mintu sir maybe. He will
Yeah,
do
yeah.
first.
I'll write. Yeah, yeah. Maybe Mintu sir, then Raji. Mintu sir will be first, then Raji, Sarika, then Lipika. Is Lipika there?
Yeah,
Yes.
After Sarika, Lipika, then somebody with the name Vedic Yog joined.
Ma'am, you listed the list means according to alphabet, otherwise number.
Hey, that's the enter. Oh, yeah, maybe, ma'am, the way you call every day, that will be better because people exited.
yeah. Okay. Lipalika, can you start off?
Okay, ma'am. व्याधि स्त्यान संशय प्रमाद आलस्य अविरति भ्रांति दर्शन अलब्ध भूमिकत्व अनवस्थित्वानि चित्त विक्षेपास्ते अंतरायः.
Good. Mintu? Mintu ji?
व्याधिस्त्यानो संशय प्रमाद अलस्य अविरति भ्रांति दर्शन अलब्ध भूमिकत्वा अनवस्थित्वानि चित्त विक्षेपास्ते अंतरायः.
Good. Priyanka?
व्याधिस्त्यान संशय प्रमादलस्य विरति भ्रांति दर्शनालब्धभूमिकत्वानवस्थितत्वानि चित्तविक्षेपास्तेन्तरायः.
Good. Rajeshwari ji?
Yes, ma'am. व्याधि स्त्यान संशय प्रमाद आलस्य अविरति भ्रांति दर्शन अलब्ध भूमिकत्व अनवस्थितत्वानि चित्त विक्षेपाः ते अंतरायाः.
Good. Sarika?
व्याधिस्त्यान संशय प्रमाद आलस्य अविरति भ्रान्तिदर्शन अलब्धभूमिकत्व अनवस्थित्वानि चित्तविक्षेपान्तराय
Chitta Vikshepa.
चित्तविक्षेपास्ते अन्तरायः.
Yeah. Sakshi Jaiswal.
व्याधि स्त्यान संशय प्रमाद आलस्य अविरति भ्रांति दर्शन आलब्ध भूमिकत्व अनवस्थित्वानि चित्त विक्षेपास्ते अंतरायः.
इसको थोड़ा सा you have to practice, Sakshi. You have to practice. I think. Yeah. Alabdha bhumikatva anavasti tatvani.
अनवस्थित तत्वानि. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Chitta vikshepaste antarayah. Okay. Next is Shravani.
व्याधिस्त्यान संशय प्रमादालस्याविरति भ्रान्तिदर्शन अलब्धभूमिकत्वा अनवस्थितत्वानि चित्तविक्षेपास्तेन्तरायाः.
Good. Shuja?
व्याधिस्त्यान संशय प्रमादालस्य अविरति भ्रांति दर्शनालब्ध भूमिकत्वा अनवस्थितत्वानि चित्तविक्षेपास्ते अन्तरायाः.
Good. Should we go to the next one? If you are all okay with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The next sutra is Dukkha Daurmanasya. Dukkha Daurmanasya. Angame Jayatva. Shwasa Prashwasa. Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha. Okay, I'll repeat it once again. Dukkha Daurmanasya Angame Jayatva Shwasa Prashwasa Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha. Dukkha Daurmanasya Angame Jayatva Shwasa Prashwasa Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha. Dukkha Daurmanasya Angame Jayatva Shwasa Prashwasa Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha. Dukkha Daurmanasyangame Jayatva Shwasa Prashwasa Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha. Dukkha Daurmanasyangame Jayatva Shwasa Prashwasa Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha. Dukkha Daurmanasya Angame Jayatva Shwasa Prashwasa Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now Lipalika, start off.
Dukkha Daurmanasya Angame Jayata Swasa Prashwasa Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha.
Good. Mintu?
दुःखदौर्मनस्याश अङ्गमेव जयत्वा साश प्रशश विक्षेपासः भुवः.
Can you repeat it once again?
दुःखदौर्मनस्या अङ्गमे जयत्वा श्वास प्रश्वास विक्षेपसः भुवः.
Yeah. Priyanka?
दुःखदौर्मनस्याङ्गमे जयत्वा श्वासप्रश्वासविक्षेपसः भुवः.
Rajeshwari ji?
Dukkha Daurmanasya Angame Jayatva Shvasa Prashvasaha Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha.
Good. Sarika?
दुःखदौर्मनस्याङ्गमे जयत्वा श्वासप्रश्वासा विक्षेपसः भुवः.
Good. Sakshi Jaiswal?
दुःख दौर्मनस्य अंगजे तत्व श्वास
No.
प्रश्वास विक्षेप
Sakshi, there is a small mistake. Dukkha Daurmanasya. Repeat after me. Dukkha
दुःख दौर्मनस्य
Angame Jayatva.
अंग में जयत्व
Angame Jay. Shwasa
अंग
Prashwasa
में जयत्व श्वास प्रश्वास
Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha.
विक्षेप सह भुवः.
Yes. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shravani?
दुःखदौर्मनस्याङ्गमे जयत्वा श्वासप्रश्वास विक्षेपसः भुवः.
Good. Shuja?
दुःखदौर्मनस्याङ्गमे जयत्वा श्वास प्रश्वास विक्षेप सह भुवः.
Good. Sweetie?
Yes, ma'am. दुख दौर मनुष्यांग में विजयते श्वास पर श्वास विक्षेप सह बुह.
धीरे धीरे बोलना. I'll repeat, you repeat after me. I'll chant and you repeat after me, okay? Dukkha,
दुख
daurmanasya,
दौर मनस्य
angame jayatva,
अंग में जयत्व
श्वास prashvasa,
श्वास प्रश्वास
विक्षेप सह भुवः.
विक्षेप सह भुह.
हाँ, प्रैक्टिस करना. हाँ,
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
okay. Yeah, mute yourself. Now we'll go to the next sutra, which is the 32nd sutra. 32nd sutra is tat prati shedartham. Tat prati shedartham. Ekatatva abhyasaha. Tat प्रतिषेधार्थम एकतत्व अभ्यासः. तत् प्रतिषेधार्थम एकतत्व अभ्यासः. तत् प्रतिषेधार्थम एकतत्वाभ्यासः. तत् प्रतिषेधार्थम एकतत्वाभ्यासः. तत् प्रतिषेधार्थमेकतत्वाभ्यासः. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Lipalika ji, can you start?
Yes, ma'am. tat प्रतिषेधार्थम एकतत्वाभ्यासः.
Mintu ji,
तत् प्रतिषेधार्थम् एकतत्वाभ्यासः.
Priyanka,
तत् प्रतिषेधार्थमेकतत्त्वाभ्यासः.
Rajeshwari,
Yes, ma'am. tat प्रतिषेधार्थम् एकतत्वाभ्यासः.
Sarika,
तत्प्रतिषेधार्थमेकतत्त्वाभ्यासः.
Sakshi,
तत्प्रत्ययेषार्थम् एकतत्वाभ्यासः.
tat प्रतिषेधार्थम एकतत्वाभ्यासः.
तत्प्रतिषेधार्थम् एकतत्वाभ्यासः.
Very good. Shravani,
Ma'am, is this
yeah, that's right. Shravani, yes.
तत् प्रतिषेधार्थमेकतत्वाभ्यासः.
Good. Shuja,
तत् प्रतिषेधार्थम् एकतत्वाभ्यासः.
Sweetie,
Yeah, ma'am. तत् प्रतिषेधार्थम एक तत्वाभ्यासः.
Yogesh, okay, we'll go to the next sutra. Are you clear with this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The 33rd sutra is, this is a long sutra. You have to pay attention. Maitri, Karuna, Mudito, Mudita. You break it at Mudita. So these are three words. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam. Sukha, Dukkha, Punya, apunya vishayanam. Sukha, dukkha, punya, apunya vishayanam. Sukha, dukkha, punya, apunya vishayanam. Bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Maitri, karuna, mudita, upekshanam. Sukha, dukkha, punya, apunya vishayanam. Bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. This is the sutra which defines what is chitta prasadanam, how to attain chitta prasadanam. One of the very important sutras. We find questions almost in every UGC exam on this. Maitri, karuna, mudita, upekshanam, sukha, dukkha, punya, apunya vishayanam, bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Maitri, karuna, muditopekshanam, sukha, dukkha, punya vishayanam, bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Maitri, karuna, muditopekshanam, sukha, dukkha, punya vishayanam, bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Maitri, karuna, muditopekshanam, sukha, dukkha, punya vishayanam, bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Maitri, karuna, muditopekshanam, sukha, dukkha, punya vishayanam, bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody want the repetition?
Yes, ma'am. Maitri, karuna, mudita, upekshanam, sukha, dukha, punya vishyanam, bhavna tasya chitta prasadanam.
Good, you got all the words. Repeat, keep repeating it, you will get it. When others are chanting, just repeat it on your own, okay? You will get it.
May I repeat it?
Yeah, you can repeat it. Yes.
Yeah. Maitri, karuna,
Karuna,
mudita.
karuna. Maitri, karuna.
Maitri, karuna, mudita, apekshanam, sukha, dukha, punya vishyanam, bhavnat chitta prasadanam.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So we'll start with Lipalika again. Lipalika, can you chant it?
Yes, ma'am. Maitri, karuna, mudita, upekshanam, sukha, dukkha, punya, apunya, vishanam, bhavanatas, chitta prasadanam.
Good. Mintu?
Maitri, karuna, mudita, upekshanam, sukha, dukkha, punya bhavana, vishayanam, bhavanatasya chitta prasadanam.
Good. Priyanka?
मैत्री करुणामुदितोपेक्षाणां सुखदुःखपुण्यापुण्यविषयाणां भावनातश्चित्तप्रसादनम्.
Good. Sarika?
मैत्री करुणा मुदितोपेक्षाणां सुखदुःखपुण्या पुण्यविषयाणां भावनातश्चित्तप्रसादनम्.
Good. Sakshi?
मैत्री करुणामुदित उपेक्षानां सुख दुःख पुण्य अपुण्य विषयाणां भावनातस्य प्रसादनम्.
Bhavanatas chitta prasadanam. Chitta prasadanam.
भावना भावनातस्य चित्त प्रसादनम्.
Yeah, good. Shravani?
मैत्री करुणा मुदितोपेक्षानां सुखदुःखपुण्यापुण्यविषयाणां भावनातश्चित्तप्रसादनम्.
Good. Shuja?
मैत्री करुणामुदितोपेक्षानां सुखदुःखपुण्यापुण्यविषयाणां भावनातश्चित्तप्रसादनम्.
Good. Sweetie? Sweetie, you chanted this, right? Yogesh, are you active? Do you want to chant?
I
Yes, ma'am.
already, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Yogesh, please go ahead.
मैत्री करुणा मुदितो उपेक्षाणां सुख दुःख पुण्य पुण्य विषयाणां भावनाश्च चित्त प्रसादनम.
Okay. We'll go to the next sutra, 34th sutra.
Ma'am, I think it better stop here. We can learn tomorrow.
You want to stop here? Okay. Okay. So, how is the chanting practice going on at your end?
Sutras here.
Sorry?
We have two biggest sutras here. That's the reason.
Okay. Okay.
We learn four.
How is the practice going on at your end? Are you able to practice the sutras every day?
Yeah, ma'am. It is very good on.
Okay. So you have to practice chanting every single day. Otherwise, you will not get it.
Yeah, ma'am.
And at the end of probably the last week of January, you will have the monthly exam. You should be prepared by then. Okay, unless you have a good practice every single day, you won't be able to by heart all of them on one day.
Yeah, ma'am.
There might be a chanting exam also.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so you really have to be prepared. It can be asked in any order, random, and from anywhere. That is the kind of preparation that is required.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up today, and please reflect on what you have learned after the class, or even when you get time tomorrow. Please sit down. If you're not understanding anything, use the video again, YouTube video. Listen to the class. If you have doubts or any aspects which are not clear, tomorrow we can discuss. You can ping me in the group, or tomorrow we can discuss during the class.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So please sit straight. Adopt Namaskara Mudra. Put your head, neck, and back straight. Gently close your eyes. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Paschantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently open your eyes. Thank you all. Shubhratri.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.